Hey guys, another Open Dragon Mouth here. Now don't panic. I am currently away from my house on business right now, so I am currently in Virginia right now. I will not say my exact location, but that's why I am over here at this time. Also, I got a new webcam. I have the new Logi C922. So I heard that this was a very good camera, and it's much better than the one that's built right into my laptop. So much clearer image. So hopefully this will be good for you guys. I don't know how the audio is. I haven't had a chance to listen to it instead of my normal Blue Snowball microphone that I have. But this will have to do, since I'm not home. But what are we going to do to start off 2020? Well, all hell broken loose. That's pretty much all I'll say about the first couple weeks of the new decade. So, but there is other stuff I do want to go into. So, first off, someone actually did a calculation of how much money furries have donated to charity over the past year. And they calculated that over $1.1 million has been donated to charities. And this is combining both conventions and fundraisers. Now, while the majority is from conventions, I believe they said 82.5% of the total contribution, which is around $915,000. It says remaining 17.5% comes from outside the conventions. So that comes from fundraisers, which they recorded only 14 events. Of course, the conventions that contributed the most were Anthocon, BLFC, FWA, Furry Fiesta, and Further Confusion. And like I said in the previous video, Midwest Furfest donated pretty much the largest amount I've ever seen, $220,000. And that was partially because of an anonymous donor that matched the original amount of $110,000. I don't know who had that kind of money, but, well, it's going to a good cause. So if you look through here, we got a little breakdown of where all that money came from. You already see the amount from conventions and just regular fundraisers. There is one for Western Pennsylvania Furry Weekend, which they raised $12,884. First Squared, they're very charitable over there. $32,180, and like I said, Furfest, $220,000. So that is quite an achievement out of, I don't know how many furries are out there now, because that number has grown quite a lot since then. In fact, that's not the only thing that they have donated to. As you probably know, I know it's kind of been buried under the more political news here in America, but there has been a bushfire in Australia, and some furries have actually donated over $25,000 off a live stream. It came from the imaginatively unimaginative artists, which there is a saved video here if you want to take a look at the whole thing. But yeah, $25,000. They've donated that to the Australian Red Cross, and yeah, people have really been helping Australia. We even had some graffiti artists drawing a koala in a firefighting outfit. They dropped carrots. They dropped carrots to feed wallabies. I never imagined that would be one thing that would be airdropped. as a care package. But yeah, guys, $25,000. They originally intended to raise 1,000 American dollars to the Australian Red Cross, but they raised way more than that, and that is really impressive. Okay, to some other things. This came across here. Lidl, for those of you who don't know what Lidl is, they're a competitor to Aldi, which they're a discount grocer. Pretty much, you pretty much have to bring your own bags, and their shopping carts are locked up. You have to put in a quarter in order to unlock it, and then when you bring it back to them, you get your quarter back. It's a lot of cheap stuff. But Lidl is their competitor. And now they said that they are going to remove they call it cartoon characters, but the mascots of cereal brands. And this is their own brand, which is Crownfield. And may I say here, who is it that owns Kellogg's? Sue somebody, because they clearly stole your name. They even have a lion mascot on there. It's no Tony the Tiger, okay? But now they removed him, and now it's just Frosted Flakes, which, like I said, it's not Kellogg brand. So I don't know why they haven't put in a lawsuit for that. But this was because of some pressure to regulate what they call junk food marketing. So, and I get I get what they're trying to do is because kids are impressionable. They like cartoon animals, and they'll buy what is based on what is on the image of the box. But that is I'm a little torn on this one because I mean I get what they're doing. They're trying to get people to eat healthier. I get that. But let me give you something here. I mean, I like Toucan Sam. I really love the character, but I have never eaten Fruit Loops because I think that cereal is nasty. It's a very artificial flavor. I just never liked it. So let me see. What else is here? Cocoa rice. It's pretty similar to was it Cocoa Pebbles? But let's see. But yeah, this is more of an indirect route of trying to get kids to stay away from sugary foods. And again, this comes down to more of the consumer's choice. And I mean, I'm not a fan of banning foods outright. I am no fan of that. It comes down to the power of choice. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this. Let me know what you guys think about this. Now this one, I can't believe I forgot to talk about this one. There were 3 separate incidents of Disney characters being inappropriately touched down in the Walt Disney World in Florida. There are employees who portrayed Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Donald Duck. Each of them had filed police reports. And now the first incident was a woman in a Mickey Mouse costume, but it wasn't really. If this is the one I'm thinking of, it wasn't really a sexual thing. What had happened was what the woman claimed was that she was patting the character's head to try to show their child that there's nothing to be afraid of, but unfortunately the head slipped and it caused an injury to the performer. She was 36 years old. She was patted on the head 5 times, causing it to slide down and strain her neck. Now, I mean, I've worked for Disney before, but I'm not exactly sure what the inside of the design of the heads are, because that was not my department. I mean, I have performed in mascot costumes before, but I don't know how they are in Disney. But I can definitely see this happening, because I think there was problems with this before in Disney. But now the performer told investigators that she did not believe that this was intentional, and I don't think so either. But in any case, don't pat them on the head. I mean, you can convince your kid that there's nothing to be afraid of. But you can just stand beside the character. You can shake their hands. That's all okay. You can do that. But just touching them on the head is not really an appropriate thing to do. There's better options than that. I mean, it's more about the safety of the performer. It's more what it's about. Let's see, the same day, a 36-year-old Disney employee betrays Minnie Mouse, posed for pictures with a man and his wife from Minnesota. Minnie Mouse gave the man a hug, and he groped her chest 3 times. She alerted her supervisors and identified pictures of Gary Obermahler, age 61, from Brewster, Minnesota. And I'm a little puzzled by this. She decided against pressing charges. But Obermahler denied the accusation and told the Associated Press that the woman had misidentified him. I don't know how you misidentify the person who groped you. But it wasn't the only time that his name was raised by Walt Disney World employees during his trip. He had also had an inappropriate interaction with a cast member back on December 5th at Magic Kingdom. That was according to an incident report that didn't provide any additional details. They did ban him. They note that he's a DVC member. So it says that he was trespassed from all Walt Disney World resorts, excluding Saratoga Springs Resort, which I assume was where he was staying at the time. But this goes without saying, you don't do that. And him claiming that he was misidentified, I don't believe that. I can't see how someone who was groped does not remember your face. And plus, his name came up again, so I just don't believe it. For him, there's just too much evidence against him. And then the third incident was with a Donald Duck performer. On December 3rd, deputies received a call about a guest mistreating a character at an Animal Kingdom restaurant. I know which restaurant it is. If it's at Animal Kingdom, there's only one restaurant that I know of at Animal Kingdom that has characters in it. The performer in there was a 18-year-old. A woman in her 60s asked if she could kiss Donald Duck. The performer agreed, but the situation escalated as, according to the performer, she said the woman began touching and grabbing the character's arms, chest, belly, and face. She moved toward another Disney employee for help, but the woman followed her, holding on, and then frantically put her hands inside the character's costume, touching her chest. The woman's family shouted for her to stop, and the attendant led the employee to the break room. Again, this employee decided not to press charges, telling the authorities she believed the woman who was not identified in the report may have dementia. I don't know if that's something that they were told, because I don't know how else she would know that she had dementia. But again, the family tried to have her stop, but okay, I'm not exactly sure if she has. I mean, this article does not say for sure that she has dementia, but I mean, this is a case where this is about worse, the worst of a case of assaulting a character performer I've ever seen. I have never heard of anyone actually putting their hands inside the costume before. This is the first time I've ever heard of something like this. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm a little puzzled. Pretty much is where I'm at right now as to why they're not, why this performer is not taking any action. I mean, like I said, I don't know if this woman really does have dementia or anything, or how she knows about that. But yeah, tell me what you think about that particular story. Two articles came out. One of them came from Rolling Stone. And the article said, "Will furries ever go mainstream?" So where should I start with this article? So apparently they were at Midwest Furfest. So, like, what does this article say? Such public displays of interspecies, well, let me put in a little context here first. On the floor, about 3 dozen foxes lie on top of each other in a fur pile, orange and white limbs, bellies knotted together on the ground. Such public displays of interspecies affection are the currency of Midwest Furfest, an annual convention in Rosemont, Illinois, a few minutes outside of Chicago. So we're only like a few paragraphs in, and already this article is not looking good. It's its 20th year and offers a wide range of events, including informational panels, photo shoots, talent performances, and breakdance competition. It is one of the world's largest conventions aimed at furries, a highly stigmatized, oft misunderstood subculture comprised of people who have an affinity for anthropomorphized animals. Funny you say that, considering that you just mentioned that fur pile, public displays of interspecies affection. Not exactly backing up your premise there. And also, if you're going by attendance, Midwest Furfest is the world's largest furry convention. Mainstream media has historically painted furries as sex crazed, socially maladjusted freaks who enjoy rubbing up against each other in giant bunny costumes is essentially false. Like most subcultures, furry fandom is largely internet-driven phenomenon, providing a label for a pre-existing feeling that has always lived dormant and unnamed inside a select number of people. Again, I can't help but point out that you are pointing them out that they are misunderstood when you just said there was interspecies affection. Um, yeah, such public displays of interspecies affection are the currency of Midwest Furfest. You're not exactly helping yourselves, guys. That I can't let that paragraph go. Let's see. And then we get typical numbers with Midwest Furfest. That's part due to the increasing number of younger children and their families that are gravitating into furry culture. During my time at Midwest Furfest, I saw children as young as 7 attending dance competition and meet and greets, accompanied by their parents, having stumbled up on the fandom via YouTube or TikTok. Okay, so we got some basic information there, and I can back up that there is more younger attendees going to Furfest. I actually had one younger one attend my panel last year, the mascot panel. They were asking me some questions about getting into the mascot business, and they were really good people. Let's see. So keeping with its increasingly family-friendly image, the fandom has become intent on promoting itself as a beacon of acceptance and inclusivity, and MFF is no exception. As a Fox named Tiller told me upon check-in, everyone is welcome here except Nazis. Here we go again. We're back to the Nazi thing. Why did you have to mention Nazis? I mean, everyone pretty much knows this by now, okay? No one wants Nazis here, okay? I mean, I've mentioned this before. Pretty much my concern is that what is your definition of a Nazi, okay? That's where I have a concern with. Of course no one wants Nazis in the convention, or anywhere for that matter, okay? Let's see. The message is particularly salient this year after far-right provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos made some highly public threats last September to gatecrash the convention. Despite posting a photo from check-in of the encrypted messaging app Telegram, Berger and MFF attendees said, as far as they know, he did not make good on his threat. And from what I can tell, I can back that up. And really, it was for the best for everybody. There were no Nazis at Furfest. Of course there aren't, okay? I keep saying this. There isn't going to be any. Lots of hugging, dancing, and body odor and potential copyright infringement claims, including multiple not so thinly veiled renderings of characters from series Paw Patrol. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be like people put in their own versions of like, especially MLP, but they're not like Nickelodeon's not going to come after them for that, okay? Or MLP is going to be what are they now? It used to be Hub. I know they changed it, but anyway. But yeah, I'm kind of droning on here, but this is a pretty long article here. But as far as I can tell, oh yeah. Okay. As the staffer told me on my first day, why do you keep going back to the Nazi stuff? I mean, geez, let go of that. Talk about what goes on in your convention. This is like something that should not be said, okay? from what I could tell, this is pretty much a mixed reaction for me. I mean, there is stuff that they should be covering. What is Furries? What is Midwest Furfest? And I know I've only read like a few paragraphs here, but isn't the title of this called "Will Furries Ever Go Mainstream?" Which so far I have not seen anything addressing that. I know I've only read a few paragraphs in there, but anyway, if it weren't for the fact that they were mentioning, if they were kind of undermining their points as far as the sexual aspects of the fandom, and the fact that they keep mentioning Nazis, which there's no need to mention them. I mean, it should not be mentioned. They do cover base things, okay, but if I were to tell someone their first experience, I would not recommend this article. I mean, there's just some things that are better left off the article. So I would not mention this article to anyone who's new to it. One more article here, and this one, it's one that it's a website that doesn't come from here. This is from Russia Beyond, and it's about Russian furries. And they were talking about some furries that were making an appearance at a new skating rink about, they say, 59 kilometers from Moscow. And they were mentioning just a friendly meetup, and to talk about a 30-year-old designer. And it's a relatively small collection of furries in Russia, and for a good reason. But this article does a pretty good job of explaining the furry fandom. The Russian furry community rose around the late 90s after the release of Lion King, close to what furries were in America. It was around early to mid 90s. I'm not exactly sure about the Russians, but it sounds like a good time frame to me. It said, thanks to the spread of social networks, the furry community in Russia has begun to grow, and in 2004, the first Rustference was held. And yeah, I'm glad that they actually mentioned that there is a furry convention in Russia. Yeah, and I have mentioned about it a couple times before. And I mean, it's relatively small. About 400 people, according to them. But of course, they had to mention the sexual side. I guess we can't get away from it. And then this article took it threw a curveball. Look at where it goes from here. It then suddenly goes to this Orthodox Church activist, and he claims all furries are zoophiles who instill their depravity in children. I am not surprised. The Russian Orthodox Church has a lot of influence as to what is acceptable in Russian society. And it's pretty much what you see in Russia nowadays, with how LGBT is having a hard time trying to get just trying to live their life just because of who they are, and they're pretty much looked down upon. But yeah, it really took a turn there just out of nowhere. So I'm not sure why they felt the need to bring in an Orthodox activist when there was really no business of him being in this article. But let's see. First shooting as a psychotherapy, which has been a topic in the past about those who have trouble interacting socially. So that's pretty much another positive thing. So for the most part, this is a positive article. I'm not sure why they decided to throw in the Orthodox church guy. It would have been better left off the article. But other than that, it is a pretty good article. So yeah, you can take a look at that. But that's pretty much all that is going on right now. So, and I know you've already noticed it by now. I forgot to mention. This new webcam, I can now show you the articles that I'm looking at, so you can have a look yourself as to the sources I'm going through. So you'll be seeing a lot more of that in the future. But for now, I got to get to sleep, and I have to do some work tomorrow. So till then, this Dragon's Mouth is now closing.